And so the journey begins. My logbook marks November 2nd, 2021 as the starting point of my voyage of discovery. However, before venturing out and starting to get to know the professionals in the field, I did my homework and first of all inquired about who is in charge of managing the Wadden Sea, so as not to make a bad impression, you know. Well, I think it's safe to say that I got lost right away. I found out that two Dutch ministries are involved in the management of the Wadden area, namely the Ministry of Infrastructure and Waterworks on water-related issues, water quality, water safety, shipping and accessibility, nature management, and the Ministry of Agriculture, Nature and Food Quality for what concerns the interests of nature policy, agriculture and fishery. However, with respect to protecting and improving nature, management duties and powers are splintered, with no clear central steering. To make things even more complicated is the fact that, in its Dutch part, the Wadden Sea touches three provinces, namely North Holland, Friesland, and Groningen, each of which holds a slice of authority and decisional power, all while being busy carrying out their own agenda. And of course, we cannot forget about other key players, such as institutions, organizations, NGOs advocating for nature protection, and those that protect the interests of farmers and fishermen and fisherwomen, just to mention a few. Everyone is involved, one way or another, in governing the Dutch Wadden area. But in the end, who owns the values of the Wadden? If it were a restaurant, who would be in charge of the quality of the food? Who would make sure that the customers keep walking in over and over again? As of right now, the Wadden restaurant will be out of business in the blink of an eye. First thought I had was, this is not a spaghetti dish. This is a hot mess. So I came to think, if it's true that the division of powers and a system of checks and balances is useful to ensure that no one takes too much power and misuses it, it is equally true that without an overarching body that organizes commitment, among other things, you get nowhere. It's like a ship with 5 captains. At some point, someone has to take the lead and say, okay, we go east. Once decided, one shouldn't spend time discussing again if we should go east or west, but rather about how do we want to get to the east. So here's what I think. Too many forks rolling the spaghetti are meant to overturn the whole plate. In the same way, big egos stomping on each other's toes risk losing sight of the reason for being. And what's that? To work together to preserve the common heritage and not the prestige that comes with being the strongest. In this sense, a steering council seems necessary to avoid the risk of everyone going about their own business, averting the so-called tragedy of the commons, namely the situation for which individuals neglect the well-being of society in the pursuit of personal gain, which, guess what, in turn leads to overconsumption and ultimately depletion of the common resource, to everybody's detriment. To tell the truth, it is fair to say that, since a couple of years, some steps have been taken that led to the establishment of the Wadden Sea Management Authority, to enhance cooperation and mutual consultation between various authorities involved with the Wadden Sea. Yet, a clear framework stating what these three bodies should actually achieve is still missing. In addition, this managing authority will receive no money and no powers. An authority with no leverage? I might not be the expert here, but even to me that doesn't look promising. The first note I made on this journey was therefore, splintered powers combined with complex, inefficient, and ineffective management are one big issue that triggers a chain of further issues. If everyone holds a share of power, who is responsible for the governance? Who will be held accountable for something going wrong or even something going right? How can you replicate a successful result if initiatives are scattered throughout islands of consensus? And who will guard the long-term goals and look over the horizon? After seeing the spaghetti situation, I decided to console myself by zooming in on what makes a dish of spaghetti truly special and drink together: the sauce.